pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. It is great to see everyone. We missed our last meeting because of the snow. We did a double meeting Wednesday before. We got it done. Okay, minutes of the March 14th, 2018 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion about the minutes of March 14th? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Financial report and payment of the bills.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I do have a little bit of discussion. I'd like to state that Steve Repo is not here tonight, but Lewis is going to handle it, but I really don't have a question. I just wanted to read. I wanted to read into the minutes the cash balances. As of February 28, 2018, the town of Elkton had $3,141,224.03 in the general fund. In our water fund, we had $3,085,648.57. In our water fund, in our sewer fund, we had $8,303,607.46. Our major facility fund, we got $4,144,846.49 for a grand total in our banking accounts of $18,675,328.55. Do we have a motion to approve the financial report? We did. Oh, we already did. Now we had the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Apologize for that. Lou, we have a budget amendment 2018-05.
Budget amendments tonight. 2018-05. It's going to debit the forfeited seized funds in the amount of $1,200 and credit those funds to the Elkton Police Department investigative funds for their undercover police activities. I would recommend that the board authorize this budget amendment.
And Lou, this is going directly into the general fund, correct?
Yes, general fund money.
Very good. Do we have a motion to accept budget amendment 2018-05?
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on that budget amendment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The second amendment is 2018-06. This debits $5,000 that was donated by the VFW for surveillance equipment downtown and credits that to the EPD equipment capital budget. This is all general fund in the amount of $5,000. I would recommend that the board accept the $5,000.
Do we have
credit
it?
accordingly?
Do we have a motion to approve budget amendment 2018-06?
I'll make a motion to approve budget amendment 2018-06.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I think next up, what we have, and Lou, do you want to go ahead and read this, or you want me to read it?
Certainly, I'll read it. The mayor and commissioner of the town of Elkton to VFW Post 8175 and Commander Charlie McCoy. Be it known that on behalf of the mayor and commissioners and the citizens of Elkton, in recognition of your dedication and service to the community by your generous donation of $5,000 to assist in purchasing our downtown surveillance camera system, hereby present this certificate of special recognition and offer our sincere appreciation for all the VFW does for our community.
Charlie? Come on down. Come on down. Charlie? Listen, thank you so much for everything you do in our community. And we'll get the rest of the board down here. And I've always stated, if there was we need to be working on the highest honor that we could give a resident of the town of Elkton. And I'd have to say Charlie McCoy would be the first in line to get it for everything that he does. Here, we'll do that.
Get spread out a little bit there.
Are you all in? In or out?
Wait a minute, you're blocking the,
What do I want?
Get back somewhere, fire.
how can you
I
block
think he's hiding
There
behind
we go.
Oh, no.
Already. Hey, cheese.
Jeez.
Gotcha.
Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Charlie, thank you so much.
That's a generous.
I always do, that's what we're for.
Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, Earl wants to catch.
Earl, you was running. You was running.
Yeah.
Wonderful donation.
Charlie, once again, thank you so much for everything that you do. We really mean it. You help in many ways. Okay, next up, Lou.
Fair Housing Proclamation. The town of Elkton is proud to join the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, also referred to as the Fair Housing Act. And whereas the 1968 Civil Rights Act guaranteed the right of all Americans to fair and equitable housing and prohibited discrimination concerning the sale, rental, financing of housing based on race, religion, and national origin, and was later amended to additionally prohibit discrimination on the basis of gender and to protect the disabled and families with children. And whereas in order for the Fair Housing Act to be effective in prohibiting discrimination, it requires the vigilance and continuing cooperation of all levels of government, the real estate and home building industries, banks and lending institutions, landlords, and citizens. And whereas throughout Maryland, the spirit of cooperation is being provided through the efforts of our federal, state, and local governments, and with the support of many community and nonprofit organizations. And whereas promoting equal housing opportunities is essential to our goal of promoting non-discrimination in all areas of life and for all of our citizens. Now therefore, we, the Mayor and Commission of the Town of Elkton, do hereby proclaim April 2018 as Fair Housing Month.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Lou. Well, listen, since the last snowstorm that we had on, I guess it was the 21st. The 21st. Prior to that, we had quite a bit going on. We had certainly a very successful St. Patrick's Day in the town of Elkton. It was, I'm not sure exactly how many hundreds of people were entertained on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I think it was a great event. Certainly didn't have any issues in our town, but it was wonderful. We were at multiple ribbon cuttings. We had a new business, which was Aspen Dental. If anyone has an opportunity to go take a look at that facility, I normally, as many dentists as we have in our community, I have to say the one thing that really showed to me in that facility is they actually have a lab. They got a lab inside their facility that they can make your dentures, your implants right on spot, which was pretty, quite frankly, pretty impressive to me. We also had the ribbon cutting at the new C3 Tavern on Main Street. If anyone hasn't had an opportunity to pop in there, I think they'd really enjoy the ambiance of that facility. We also had the Citizen of the Year Award, which went to the Hollenbaugh family, and it was a fantastic event, which we were able to host right upstairs. But it was a very, very, very nice event. This upcoming week, and I'm probably taking away a little bit of your thunder,
No, go ahead.
but we've got the First Friday, which is always a nice event in downtown Elkton, but we also have the Little League Parade. So the Little League Parade, so we're going to have a little bit of a closure, and we're going to try to work this time to where we only close the streets for the amount of time that we physically need them closed. And so we'll have the Little League Parade, and on behalf of the Little League, they had asked me to make sure that the mayor and commissioners participate in the parade if they'd like. If they'd like to walk it, ride in a car, whatever it may be. But I think, as I've done, I think for the last probably close to 27 years, I'll be walking it.
Are you coaching?
No. No, I'm going to look forward to walking through it again. With that, that's all I have. Jean, do you have anything?
The only thing, Lois, I wanted to ask you, I saw correspondence to Mr. Ridgway about the Delaware Avenue Bridge, but I wasn't really sure what was going on. I was going to ask you to clarify where we're at on that.
Susie tells me where we're at, I'll get back to you.
Really?
I've communicated with them several times, and they're
Yeah.
trying to determine how to integrate that back into their planning process. Because the state highway, other than being a massive bureaucracy,
Right.
has a very established protocol about how they set up their capital project. And I'm hoping that since we have the Clumar, they can put it back in their program. I'm sure they'll try. And Susie gets back to me, I'll bring it to your attention.
Okay, good. Sounds good. I'm glad to see correspondence happening. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Charles?
Louis, you sent out a memo previous in reference to housing 2 gyms for the prospective building. Then you've changed that to 1. Would you also make sure you talk to Mary and make sure what activity she's going to want to sponsor or have? Because that becomes very important in the planning process.
Yes, I will.
That's it.
Thank you. Earl?
I really didn't have anything, but from last meeting, I've got to agree with Lou. It's kind of hard to catch up with people from the Armory. You like that, don't you, Lou? You just make a smile on your face, you're right.
I told you.
I
we're a
called,
mess.
I got a number, and was given another number, and went straight to the answer machine. I've tried twice. So I will try again this week, but I don't think I want to be able to do any dealing right now. But anyway, I'm still try. That's my report.
Thank you.
I was wondering, I know we were ordering signs that say a camera-friendly community for the signs that are up. And I believe that was a while ago. Do you know where we're at with those,
Mhm.
Louis?
I got the signs from Accent Printing, and as soon as the weather got nice, we were gonna put them on the.
Oh, great, so you do have them.
Mhm.
Perfect. And then you took the rest, so everybody come downtown Friday night. It's gonna be a great weekend.
It's gonna be a great night.
I don't know about Saturday, but Friday night looks good right now, the weather.
This is the opportunity, this is our time for public comments. Mr. Giblin, come on down and take about 5 minutes and tell us what you're here to talk about, what's good for the town of Elkton.
Ed Giblin, 214 North Street. I have some handouts. Mr. Mayor, I'm trying to be as clear, concise, and to the point.
I know you are.
These are the ones that you gave us a couple weeks ago, correct?
Yeah.
Have you get finished?
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Here's where the first check.
Thank you.
And I guess the one thing that I did forget about, and I should have never forgot about, but we had a wonderful breakfast over at the senior housing
We appreciated you being there very, very much. A wonderful experience. And we hope to have you all over there again next year for the same type of meeting.
very good.
To begin with, I think there should be public acknowledgement for good deeds and actions that improve the quality of life for Elkton citizens. And I did mention this 2 weeks ago, but I did want to make it official. I want to thank again the town council and police for eliminating the panhandlers and the homeless camps in town. Mr. Mayor, as you mentioned 2 weeks ago, that some of the people under the bridge had a $200 a day drug habit. Where did they get the money? Believe me, Elkton is a much better place. And a very visible sign of this is that as you're driving out of the Walmart, there are no more people there with cardboard signs that are being held up. So again, thank you to the town council and commissioners and the police. Secondly, the second thank you is for the Elkton police. I know, I read one article that their task force had arrested a heroin dealer with a number of guns, including a sawed-off shotgun, a meth guy, and some other very, very bad people. These task force take a lot of bravery, going against a heroin dealer with a sawed-off shotgun. The coordination, the planning and execution of these task force, has to be absolutely on target. And I think the police did a wonderful job. And thank you to police for that. Cleaning up drugs does improve the quality of life for Elkton citizens. Next, I have a few suggestions. And I would like the commissioners to make any comment that they want, even if they say this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard of in my life. It would be appreciated. I did previously mention that the pedestrian bridge over the Big Elk on Delaware Avenue is much needed, and I know there's progress being made toward that. And if you turn to attachment 1, you'll see that Cecil College has a curriculum where they learn to design the construction of roads, buildings, airports, tunnels, dams, and bridges. And my suggestion is give them a chance, to design the pedestrian bridge, and let's just see what they come up with. All right, that's the suggestion. All right. If you turn to attachment 2. Attachment 2, there is no attachment. Parks and Recreation and Public Works. 20 years ago, my oldest son was 16 in high school, and I lived in Hopatcong, New Jersey. And he had heard that there was a job opening. I don't know if it was Public Works or Parks and Recreation. He went down there and he got his job. He every day he drove his bicycle down to Parks and Recreation, and he was on the mulching brigade. That one high school student would, on the back of a dump truck, would shovel off the mulch into a wheelbarrow, and the other high school student would wheel the barrel over to the town employee who built up the mounds around the trees and whatever other mulching had to be done. And it wasn't a full-time job. It was maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. And I don't know how many weeks it went on for, maybe 4 weeks, I don't know. In addition to that, there was litter cleanup that the high school students, and there was always 2 of them together, and they were always closely supervised, cleaned up the town. So, here is a suggestion that is completely moldable. You can mold it into any shape you want. The number of students, how they're hired, the number of hours, the projects, and like I said, Hopatcong had a seasonal project for the mulching, and the litter pickup was extra. And not to be biased by gender in any way, I don't see why high school age girls couldn't also pick up litter, and they probably have other skill sets like maintaining or grooming, flower gardens or wherever it may be. So like I said, here it is. Here's an idea.
That's your idea.
Any way you want. The third one, there is an attachment number 3. And I did highlight, this would be a trial program for rumble strips at crosswalks. Some crosswalks in Elkton are more dangerous than others, particularly at rush hour. And this would be a trial program where, as you see where I highlighted, you can buy plastic rumble strips that are anchored into the pavement, for the trial program, and it can be removed. And if you look to the left, if you really want to get serious, there are cobblestones that would last over 100 years. And the one thing I was thinking about, I don't know how to assess the success of this type of program. Would it be pedestrian surveys? I don't know. It's an idea that temporary rumble strips, the noise and vibrations would wake up drivers, they know that there's something coming up. And it would make pedestrians safer. An idea.
Thank you. Got one more to go.
Okay, one more to go. And that has to do with attachment 4, speed cameras. That I was looking at the internet, and the internet says that speed cameras can be placed a half mile within a school. And what they do is that they monitor anybody going over 12 miles an hour. They get a $40 fine, no points on their license. And if you go to attachment 4B, I used to live near Chestertown, and you could ask my middle son, he got a ticket in the mail with a very clear photo of the back of his car, with a very clear photo of his rear license plates. And the objective here is to change consumer habits, not to make obscene profits. It's that people would be safer. This half mile within a school would cover much of Elkton Avenue, North Street, and a good part of North Bridge Street. And it's to change consumer habits, to slow down, to make things safer for the school kids. And by the way, the program goes on through the summer. Even though there are not classes, there are school activities during the summer. And Chestertown, they had used this one company, Breadspeed, and I inferred from the article that they owned the camera, and they actually had it inside of a Ford Escape. So I did read that these portable speed cameras can be moved around at the discretion of the chief of police. And if you go to the very last page, attachment 4C, I guess Prince George's County in Montgomery County talk about obscene profits. It made $62 million last year. But from this article, I also inferred that the speed camera companies do all the work, all the paperwork, all the mailing, and it assumes that they get about 40%. So if you go back to the first one, Baltimore City had narrowed down their choice for speed camera companies to 6 companies, and the suggestion is to maybe have some of these companies or other companies come in and make presentations to see what they can do and what's involved. Any comments from anyone?
Now it's your time to comment to us, so that we'll take it into consideration.
Okay, so there's the suggestion. I think it would make it safer in these areas. It would change consumer habits, and just to have these speed camera companies come in and tell you what it's all about.
Thank you, Mr. Giblin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Come on down, please state your name and address and let us know what you're here for.
I have a question here. My name is Phyllis Brown. I live in the 300 block of Buttonwoods Road.
Yeah.
I've actually been a resident of Buttonwoods since 2000, since the beginning, since they were built in the late 99, 2000. They were building 300 block and 400 block. My issue that I'm coming to you guys for today is the parking.
If you want.
Oh, sorry. Is the parking. It's always been tight in the 100 block and the 300 block. Originally when Jeff Craft Homes were building the houses, they had the homeowners association, they actually discussed building a back behind the 100 block and the 300 block for parking. That was actually where the retirement community is now. It still has enough land to do that. My issue is now we had assigned parking. When we originally, I lived in unit 438, but was originally for 13 years. We built the home, everything. We originally had it in our deeds. When we got our home, it had outlined as a parking lot, and it showed us what parking spots we got. Ours was the biggest lot out there, me and my husband. We actually got 3 with our home. A lot of other people besides in units got 2. Everybody had at least 2. The issue is now we live in a 300 block. It's a lot tighter. At one point, when Jim Croft Homes originally built, when he had that 300 block paved and a 100 block paved, they used a different paving company. The parking spots were originally numbered, but the concrete had broke down within a year. So they brought in another paving company, repaved it, and then initially didn't renumber them until about a year and a half ago. So now that they've renumbered them, we all have 2 spots again. We got letters from the town stating that it was now assigned parking again. You get 2 spots. There's no 2 spots in front of your house besides the 300 block to, the 300 building to the 300 and approximately 7. Those all have 2 spots in front of their homes. The rest of everybody has 1 spot in front of their home, 1 spot a little bit down, or 1 spot in our home and 1 spot in the median area. Over the past 3 months, we've had a lot of new tenants move in. Homeowners aren't even able to park in front of their house. The one lady who's next to me is legally blind. She has a son that lives with her that helps her out. She has also nurses that come in when she gets she just had cataract surgery and had a cornea transplant. She has nurses that come in. We have people that apparently came from Brookmont Farms and they think that they can park anywhere, and it's created a problem to where just 3 weeks ago I had surgery, had the Elkton Police Department banging on my door, wanting to search my house for a man who allegedly was running from the police and parked in my husband's spot down, because we got 1 spot that's closer to our home, 1 spot that's farther away. But because he parked in my spot, they wanted to search my home. I didn't have no problem with it, but if it wasn't for the lady down the street saying, no, I seen him run through the cut to the 400 block, they would have to search my home to verify that I was telling them the truth just because of a parking spot. The biggest issue also is my neighbor at 308. We have a known house that's a problem house, 311. Ask anybody on your task force or anything. They're out there nonstop at least once a week for child endangerment. Kids got taken away, whole 9 yards. They was running from the police on a riding lawnmower last summer. It's one of the houses. But she keeps taking the elderly lady's spot, and when she just buried her husband in December, I don't think it's fair that she has to go through the arguments with these people. And it's a lot of neighbors that have been there forever that are talking about moving or are elderly that they can't get their spots, and these younger kids are taking it. It's causing problems with drugs in the block. It's a shame how bad Buttonwoods has went down. You would think it was wineable right about now, and it's not. You know, it's a constant decline from where me and my husband was like, we built our home, it was like the perfect little American dream, and now it's not. And a lot of that's coming from this parking thing. We had one of our firefighters who lives 2 houses down from me, 3 houses down from me. There was a car that was in his parking spot for 3 weeks, constantly calling the police, drug activity over at the car, everything else. They were like, we can't do nothing. The car didn't even belong to anyone in their development. It was somebody that parked a car because it got wrecked to try to file an insurance claim by saying the car was stolen later on. So they parked it to let the heat die down, and then they reported it was stolen later on. Finally, they took the car after a month, but the guy didn't even have a spot for almost a month. Like, it's not fair. I think that, and most of my development, like I was explaining to my neighbors here too, they feel that if we have the 2 spots and they're numbered and they're assigned, we should be able to call up the police department and ask them, maybe you guys can put some signs up saying, sign parking only, all others will be turned away. It's causing a lot of illegal activities, especially at the bottom of the block. They had a barber shop out there. It's just been chaos. And like I said, the elderly neighbors are paying for it. I don't want that to be my parents, and I know you guys wouldn't want it for yours. So if there's any way we could do something, like I said, you could post a sign, have the homeowners call the cops and have them removed. That gives, you can even take them $20, $30, $40 for being parked out there, especially after you get asked them to move. They want to fight you because you asked them to move out your spot. Or they want to block you in to where you can't even move out your own spot, double parking. And it's like you call the police, and I'm telling you, there's been a lot of them out there. And they constantly keep saying, you know, get a petition started, go to the board, we contact the town to figure out how many we need. We needed 40 signatures, we got 43 since last time meeting, because y'all wasn't here last week. And we got plenty more that want to sign. Like, people are tired of it, and if this is the only way we can take our community back and get the riffraff out of there, this will help. Like I said, we don't even know, without being able to call the police, who's supposed to be there and who's not. You know, when you got grown women coming out to try to fight somebody with a walker, because that's what 311 did, and we're like, move your car. And then you put the lady put the trash cans there, she threw the lady's trash cans. It's her spot. Leave this lady alone, she just buried her husband.
Well, listen, we appreciate you taking the time to come here and bring this to our attention. We're very appreciative that you want to take the pride back into the neighborhood. We attempted in some way to try to create that parking, because I think everyone's going to, listen, it's been about 3 years that we've been ongoing with that. We made some nice changes, I thought, of adding additional parking in certain areas.
And that doesn't seem, it is nice. Like I said, I've been here since the beginning. So the house was built. So y'all built a whole section that's along, that was along the side of my old house. And you also built an additional section for the 100 block. It's not even a thing, because the lady at 325, she came from Brookmont Farms, whatever, Delaware. I don't know what type of rules they have in Delaware, but you're in Elkton now, and you be respectful of your neighbors. If it says one person's spot on it, 320, and you know you live at 325, she'll sit there with the 2 spots of hers open and still take the blind lady next towards me.
Yeah, that's no good.
Like, if we could just enforce the parking a little bit better, and the cops said they don't mind enforcing it, but they said there's no rule, because originally when y'all repaid them a year and a half ago, y'all said it was going to be enforced, then y'all said no, it's not. Like, I just want something concrete, so that when we called out the police, they said they don't mind having the cars towed, because they're trying to get called out there for the same issues. And then we mail out letters, parking your sign, parking only, there's plenty of spots, and there's plenty of extra spots now since y'all created the extra spots. It's just keeping the people where they belong.
Understand. If I could get you to write your phone number down here for us,
What's that?
and we will address this. And we'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Pass that over. Thank you. Anyone else have something to say tonight? Come on down, Ms. Guns.
How's everyone this evening?
Doing well.
Well, Mr. Dan called me and said, I got dumpsters, when do you want them? So we picked the date that coincides with the trash bash in Cecil County. So the 21st, we are going to be having a picnic and community cleanup in our neighborhood like we did last year. So if you'd like to come out and join us and help us clean up. We're not going to do the park this year, we're going to do the big field on Cal Lane, as well as anywhere else in the neighborhood. And then we'll have a picnic at 1 o'clock. So on the 21st, come out and picnic with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I don't get in trouble, I'll fill it out.
Do you feel that we're out in the Holmesworth Manor area enough with code enforcement? What's your honest answer?
No,
Thank
to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of codes that are overlooked in our neighborhood because we're taking care of more pressing issues, we'll call them. But sometimes those little codes that get overlooked are symptomatic of bigger problems, and we could fix the bigger problems by taking care of the little ones.
I think you're right. I think that we need to take a close look at doing a little bit better code enforcement in Hollingsworth Manor. I think it would make a world of difference.
But I also want to say that my neighborhood's not as bad as it was 2 years ago or even 3 years ago.
It's better.
It is getting better, and that's kind of the more important thing, is to just realize that every little step that we take, whether it's rumble strips, like discussed earlier, or assigning parking spots, and then enforcing those rules, makes a difference in every community by being proactive and taking back our neighborhood. And it's not his problem, it's not the chief's problem, it's my problem, it's your problem, it's all of us to take responsibility for our property and respecting our neighborhoods and our town.
Thank you. Earl couldn't have said it any better.
I was going to say exactly what you said.
Well, maybe I've been coming around too much and it's rubbing off on me.
Thank you. Mr. Walter, come on down. Let's tell Mr. Walter Welch a little while ago. I think he's getting younger looking.
I didn't even recognize it.
It's kind of a surprise. I thought my son-in-law would be here to discuss what the problem is that we're having. I talked to you about earlier. I'm assuming that it'll be taken care of.
And I'd like to put it on the record, we'd like to have someone take a look at that tree. And I think, Dan, I think you've actually been out there, I think it's the Oderbauer house. Just take a look at that tree, and if we deem that to be an unsafe tree, then I'd like for us to send a letter. You got it? Very good.
This is kind of relevant, but I'm going to start off with years ago. I was in Wilmington driving a taxi cab, which I drove part-time. And I was up around Swayze Adams, if you know where that is at. And an officer was directing traffic from the past that location, and it goes down and so forth. And some kid, I thought it was a man, it was winter time, he had a long trench coat on, come running, and the cop going, flagging him. I hit that kid. I hit him. And I was probably going 25. That don't sound like fast, but you hit a body at 25 years old. He went up, broke the windshield, went up over the windshield, down, and then fell off on the side. And the cops down and just pull over, pull over. I seen what happened. That boy ended up with brain damage. I went to the hospital for over a year that he was in there. I care about people, you know, I really do, and I'm a fanatic on safety. And I think I mainly got that because I've had that all my life, you know, it's safe. It's bad when you hit a child. God forbid that it should happen to one of mine, you know. And I said that to say this. A couple of weeks ago, you know, I think you all know I periodically pick up CNAs that work at the nursing home there at Laurelwood. And I take them to work and then pick them up, so forth. Well, I'm running a cab per se. I do this to help them that, you know, if they give me something, they give me something, okay? And then said, man, you need to get more money, you know? Because I take them there for $6. $3 there and $3 to pick them up. I don't want to name the cab company, but get in a cab and take one and find out. Okay, and I'm not knocking that, but I'm knocking mainly is the safety. On my way out, I had a passenger, a CNA nurse, that was going there, and I drive slow in that development. Anybody that knows me at all, if they think they know me, if they don't think they know me, get behind me. Because I'm going to do the speed limit and lower, especially where there's kids and, you know, people that have to walk on the street because of debris on the sidewalk or whatever. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
They got to walk on the street. They passed me, two women, of which I know them, they know me. They passed me, and of course they had the passing gear. You know how she jumps, the car jumps when you hit the stomp it. It picks up speed rapidly. went around me, I was really upset, really upset. So they had to stop at the road where you live at. They had to stop at that sign. I stopped in back of them, and I got out of the car and I went forward. I said, you know, as congenial and as I could be, I said, you know, you two ladies, and somebody started yelling in the back seat, we're late for work, we're late for work. Well, you know, I'm like, well, that's not my problem. My problem is driving in that manner. Yous are both CNAs or nurses or whatever you do at Laurelwood. You're there to save people's lives, but you're out to kill me today. You're out to kill me today. It shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed, but they do it. Not only they do it, but other people do it. Going either way on Locust Lane. They think that's Dover down. When they come to them humps you talk about, then they fly over them. They're airborne. That don't make sense. My God, Rob, I mean, I've lived there quite a few years, and how someone hasn't got hit, I'll never know. I'll never know. But it's gonna happen unless something is done about that. We used to have, at night we used to have cars, squad cars that would come in and circle around the cul-de-sac. That stopped. What happened to that now? I come home the other night and it was 10:30 and some joker come up to me on a bike. I didn't see him until he was right there. You know what I'm talking about? These kind of things are still going on. I know what they're doing. They're running drugs. There's no doubt in my mind. The police know it, you know, but nothing is done there. If it was, it wouldn't still be going on and on and on and on every night. And when it gets summertime, we're going to have it even worse. There's no question in my mind. None. So, you know.
So your concern is you want a little bit more, see if we can get a little more patrolling?
I would think so, yes, Mike.
I think the chief hears you loud and clear. And I will also stress to you that, you know, part of our downtown, our Elkton-friendly cameras will be heading your way. And that's gonna help hinder a little bit of the shenanigans. And, but I can tell you, I know for a fact, I've seen, I've talked with the chief and our captain on many occasions, and every night they're patrolling every section of,
Yes.
the officers are in their sections and they stay in their sections. And so we'll make sure that, maybe get them to hit their lights when they go by Ron's house. Hit the siren.
Oh, when they hit them lights on them cars, that whole neighborhood lights up.
Certainly where he's
All of
talking
a
about,
sudden,
there was a lot of kids that play there.
There
As a
is.
matter of fact, there were probably 20 to 25 playing. I was there this afternoon when I came to. Summertime, you could easily see 40, 45 kids out in the road there.
Yeah.
That's a given.
So-
Thank you, sir.
So, yeah, it's kind of redundant with me when they come here, because it's mostly what I talk about. You know, I appreciate what the town is doing, the commissioners have been doing, and things like that. A little thing, I'm gonna throw it in because it kind of funny to me. Have you ever been to Germany?
I have been to Germany, yes.
I was stationed in Baumholder, Germany, and in the military, obviously. But they call them guest houses in Germany. The bars, there ain't no bars, they call them guest houses. And I walked, as hard as it is for me to walk, you know, because of my stroke and so forth, I do have a susceptibility to a walker. I've got a new walker. It doesn't have a motor on it yet. No, I'm kidding. But the point I'm making is, I felt like I was back in Germany.
I understand.
Yeah, Rob, I did.
I think we got your point.
You said stop in and, you know, stop in. Well, I can go in any bar and I guarantee you I'll come out of there trouble.
I think we got your point.
The thing is, my God, I went in just to visit to see, you know, give me a hamburger. Okay, that'll be $10. Do what? Man, that freaked me out. You know what I'm saying? I can't see people of Elkton. I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening. What I can see happening, it's just a matter of time. People are people. It's gonna end up, it's gonna be a problem.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay? That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Does anyone else have anything to say this evening? I'd like to ask the board, we need to have a closed meeting tonight. It is now, I'm going to say 7:45. Need to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
And a second. So we got Charlie. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We will not be reconvening, and thank you all.